Whether you're a newbie copywriter or a business owner trying to learn how to write words that make your business money, you've probably found some tried and true copy tips and tricks to help you out. But what you may not know is that if you only focus or even primarily focus on the copy, you're gonna miss out on some really powerful conversion opportunities from your messaging. But what you don't know is that if you focus on your copy without finding the right message, your copy might still struggle to convert. Hi, I'm Brittany McBean. I'm a launch strategist and copywriter for advanced stage entrepreneurs running million-dollar launches and funnels. And our special sauce around here is messaging strategy, because no matter how good your copy is, no copy can make up for the wrong messaging. I'm gonna be talking more about brand messaging and messaging strategy in the coming weeks, so make sure you subscribe so that you're getting that notification in your inbox every week and you're catching all of these videos so that you can create the best messaging strategy for your brand. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the difference between copy and messaging so that you can consistently write the words that drive traffic and sales, even if you're not a good copywriter. So what is the difference between copy and messaging? Your messaging is what you're saying. Your copy is how you're saying it. And messaging beats copy every time. There are a lot of things that go into your messaging, but from a high level view, your messaging is going to include your messaging hierarchy. So that is a fancy way of saying what you're saying, what problems or desires or solutions or wants, all of those copywriting things you are addressing, and in what order, what value you are putting on the order of the things you are talking about, your positioning, the differentiator or UVP that you're leading with, the things that you're highlighting, the features, the benefits, the parts of your product or your brand that you are pulling out, calling out, and highlighting to your people. Your positioning also determines where you stand in the market, but I think it is way more valuable to get clear on who you are and what you do and what you don't do than focus on doing competitor analysis and what everybody else is doing and finding that gap. Do what you do best and just continue articulating that again and again. And that leads to the last thing that I think really makes up your messaging, and that is your core priorities and values. Throughout the rest of this video, you're gonna hear me talk a lot about how our audience is first, our people are first, studying them is first. Yes, absolutely. And that is the most important thing. Your audience is the most important part of your messaging. But if you are not clear on what you advocate for, what you stand against, what you support, the kind of values that you want to promote, the kind of people that you want to work with, and the kind of people that you don't want to work with, then you're going to miss out on some important polarizing opportunities. I think it is incredibly important to polarize your content, to let people know who you are for and who you are not for, so that people can consistently vote with their dollar and not necessarily just repel away from you, but say, I want to go with this person over that person because I know what they advocate for, and I know that that's where I want to spend my money, and that is who I want to support. So if you can be clear on your values and your priorities, you don't have to bash other people. This isn't about telling them what not to do and who not to work with. This is about sticking your flag in the sand, finding your hills that you want to die on, and going all in on those. So if messaging is what you're saying and copy is how you're saying it, focusing on copy first might look something like saying, okay, which copywriting formula are we going to use? So just starting in a bubble, right? What copywriting formula are we going to use for this sales page that we're writing? And have we added in enough urgency and scarcity? And do we have enough social proof? Where you're really just going into your copywriting bag of tricks, pulling the things out, mashing them together, and hoping to create a puzzle that converts. That's what leading with copy would look like. However, if you're focusing on your messaging first and foremost, you might ask yourself, all right, when they get to this sales page, are they problem aware or solution aware? What are they actively struggling with the most? What brought them to this page? What is the conversation going on in their head? And then how can we turn that into the copy in the header? That's what messaging looks like. And if that problem aware, solution aware was a little confusing to you, or you haven't studied the 5 stages of awareness, I have a video on that. I'm gonna reference it a couple times throughout this video, so you might wanna go back and watch that. It's really, really, really important. And I think one of the most powerful marketing tools that most people miss. So where the heck do you find your messaging? From your people. Audience, offer, copy, always. I have another video on that, but always, always, always starting with your audience. Your job in your copy is to make your reader feel seen, heard, known, and understood. If your copy does that, it will convert regardless of the urgency and scarcity and the copywriting formulas and all of the other tricks that you want to put in it. The best way to find the copy that makes your reader feel seen, heard, known, and understood is to study them. Your job is to get your ear to the ground, listen to your people, listen to the type of people that you work with, listen to the industry, and hear what's going on with them so that you can really start to understand the conversation they're actively having in their head before they enter into your funnel, or before they engage with you, or before they land on your sales page or watch your webinar or read your email. It is way more expensive and inefficient to test out your messaging with ideas in your own head. If you're just making assumptions and just saying, let's test these 5 different things and see if they work, you're going to spend way more in ads, you're going to spend way more marketing time and effort. It is not an efficient way to figure out what your people connect with. But when you do the research correctly, you're able to identify the patterns, the things that you can look at your people as a whole and say, as a whole, they are actively dealing with or thinking about these things. And when you identify those patterns, you have a really clear starting place. Your copy will only be as effective as your ability to connect with your reader, period. I'm gonna be doing an in-depth video of our market research process that we use for our clients in a couple weeks. So if you have any questions about market research, anything you've struggled with before, go ahead and drop it in the comments below so I know to answer your question in that video. So if your messaging comes from your market research and studying your people, after you do that, how do you know what message to use? Where does that come from? The truth is, how you see your brand, the value of your product and your offers doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter as much as how your people see it, what your people need, what they are actively experiencing as it relates to the solution that you're offering. Yes, it's super important to know who you do and do not want to be in the space, how you're different, what happens in your industry that you're just not down with, and what do you see going on in the world that you want to further. It's important to know that, but everything needs to run through the filter of your audience. Their lens is the only lens that you see your copy through. When you're collecting enough data, gathering enough market research, you're going to start to see those messaging patterns come to the top. You're looking for the things that they are actively expressing, they are struggling with, questions they have, things they are confused by, things that they think they need, things that they actively want. What have they tried before? What solution or outcome are they dying for? What specific tools or resources are they needing? Those things, when you start to hear things over and over and over again, that's when you can start to nail down your messaging and your positioning. Someone might say something to you, whether it is a random person on the internet or your partner or your mom, and it's gonna stick out and it's gonna feel really personal, and you're gonna be like, but this person said that, I can't not address that. Maybe. But if they're the only person that said that, or they said it without the context of your specific audience and your offer and your brand, then that is not data that you use to determine your messaging. Sorry, mom, we love you, but this ain't it. You also have to start to understand their user behavior and their lived experience. If you're speaking to really busy parents or female executives or people who are likely to scroll past things, maybe grab the meaty bits of information that they need as fast as possible and then out of sight, out of mind, you need to be aware of how you are positioning your messaging at every single point of your funnel. Don't just assume that they've already gathered the message that you had before. Go back and repeat that. Take 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Think about how your people are engaging with your content, where they are hearing you, where they are seeing you, how many times they are being exposed to something so that you know what messaging goes into each individual piece of copy. And if you're writing a funnel, your message is not going to be the same throughout the funnel. Your personality, your brand voice, your values, those are going to be the same. But people are at different stages in their buying journey and their level of awareness at different stages of your funnel. So if you're only having one conversation with them from top of funnel to sales page and checkout cart, you're really gonna miss the mark. You need to be thinking, where are people before they meet you for the first time? Where are they when they meet you for the first time? And then coach them through this journey, getting them 1 step at a time so that you are, again, having the conversation that they are having in their head at that moment. Go back and watch that 5 stages of awareness video. That's going to give you everything you need to know about the different stages people will be in your funnel and what messaging and copy they need to see at each different stage. Now that we know the difference between messaging and copy, where we find our messaging and how we can determine which messaging we're using, now we got to turn that into copy, because copy is still important. It's just not as important as your message. Good copy is specific, nuanced, intimate, and open. Good copy is not about you. It is not black and white. It is not binary, and it is not shaming. And above all, it is not directive. The second you start to tell people what they need to do, what they have to do, what they should do, why they can't afford not to do this, 1, That's gross. 2, it puts up an immediate wall of defense. But if you can understand where your people are and start suggesting possible solutions to their problems, possible outcomes, and giving them the autonomy they need to make the decision that they need to make based on what you know about them, that is when your copy is going to convert. And that specificity is so important. If your copy could apply to someone else's business, it ain't good copy. You got to cut it. What sounds better? You can finally achieve success, or you can finally organize your pantry so that you can easily access every snack and ingredient you need throughout the week without constantly reorganizing. Which one do you think is going to convert better? Or telling someone that if they work with you, they can step into their best life or be their best self. What the hell does that mean? If I ever see step into your best life copy again, it will be too soon. Isn't it more powerful to write something like, when you work with us, you can create the visual brand that clearly and accurately shows off your unique, wonderful personality and gets you seen and heard in your industry? That's a solution I would sign up for. I don't know what it means to step into my best life. Another word that I never want to hear again in the online world is stuck. Are you stuck? You're feeling stuck. You need to get unstuck. What does that mean? Am I trapped in a closet in my home? Am I literally physically stuck? Am I stuck in the line at the grocery store in traffic? Am I mentally stuck? What does that mean? Stop saying the word stuck. Stuck. Now it's starting to sound weird. Stuck. Stop writing it. What sounds better? You're feeling stuck right now versus it really sucks when you're finally ready to take control of your nutrition and start eating healthy, but there aren't enough hours in the day to plan, shop, and prepare the meals that you want to eat. What do you think? I know that getting specific in your copy, putting your personality into it, getting your voice into it can be challenging if you're not in the practice. It is a habit. It is a skill that you can practice. It's not a natural ability that some people have that you don't. I have a free resource for you called 9 Ways to Write More Better with 9 simple, easy to do tricks to take your copy from blah to actually interesting. You can pick one at a time, you can cherry pick them, you can use them all at once, but go ahead and use the link below to download that and just start using that to beef up your copy a little bit, amp up the personality, and start writing in a way that deeply connects with your people. If this was helpful to you, let me know by clicking the thumbs up and subscribing so I actually know whether this was good or not and you want more of this. And if you have questions about marketing research, make sure to comment that below so that I can answer it in the next video. If I can, I would love to hop in the comments and chat with you, and then also make sure that that's in that video so it's there for you whenever you need it. All right, I'll see you in the next video.